Hi there. Today we're talking about chapter 7 on Skye Jethani's book, What If Jesus Was Serious? About the Sermon on the Mount. So today we're on chapter 7. So today we're talking about the verse, Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. So when we show mercy to others, we obtain mercy from God. Jesus repeatedly emphasizes that how we treat others will determine how God will treat us.
Yeah, and very much, I think the idea that we need to constantly be reminded of, I know I do, is that we cannot separate our relationship with God from uh, our relationship with each other. And really, it comes right down to is because we were all created in His image. And that's such an important thing for us to just always be mindful of, no matter who it is that we are facing, because he then also says we are commanded to love one another even when there are enemies.
Okay, let's talk about that for a minute because in our culture, I mean, when we think of enemies, we think of war or countries or people groups that are traditionally opposed to each other. But when it comes right down to it, who really is our enemy? Just me or you or someone that the ordinary person. We don't usually think of ourselves as having enemies. Who are our
Well,
enemies?
well, and that's just it. I think it's because if we look at what we read and watch quite a bit, obviously it's everyone, there's the good guy who is the arch enemy kind of thing like that. And
Yeah.
like hopefully as we get older we don't have like five arch enemies, or maybe we're doing something wrong.
Yes.
But yeah, in our conversation earlier, like I think you said you read something, and it was really one of the ways. Was it Andy Stanley
Yes.
who sort of described, how we can maybe see someone who, how we can just, see someone as our enemy is really someone we're tempted to not really feel bad about if bad things happen to them.
Yeah.
And then our basically our thought is like, well, they had that coming.
Yep. And I think
And I think
that
it's
that can apply to lots of different people, right? People we don't like,
sure.
people that are authority over us, people who treat us badly or take advantage of us. So lots of times that's how we respond. We just say, okay, well, I can't really do anything about it per se. I'm not going to go out there and take revenge. But when something bad happens to them, it's like, haha, they had it coming.
Well, absolutely. And I think that's a really interesting, I think, way to say it, because I do think even for me, when I would say, like, I don't know that I feel like I have a lot of enemies per se,
Hmm.
but definitely there are people that I have felt wronged by,
Yep.
and in my life, and I'm thankful that God has worked through those things in me where, yeah, I was like, yeah, maybe I'm okay that they went over that hard time, and that's a hard
Yep.
thing to confess, but like if we're being honest, we probably have all felt that sometimes about
Yep.
people, or has kind of wished it on people.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, yeah. Yeah, that's the go taking it one step further. We wish it on them, and I think it comes right down to then. Yeah, I know this is going to come up later in the book about loving our enemies, but how do we actually love our enemies? And I think we'll just leave that as one of the discussion questions today when we get around to that part. But maybe just food for thought there is you can start thinking about it. How do we love people that we don't like, or people that are in authority, or people who've treated us badly or taken advantage of us, and don't
Hmm.
just, start wagging our finger every time something bad happens to them?
That's right.
So later on in the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus even ties forgiveness of sins to us forgiving others. I think this idea can be really uncomfortable sometimes. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think first thing and I'll put myself in this category. We really want to believe that our relationship with God is completely just a personal. It's a me and God.
Yeah.
As long as me and God are good, we're good. And um, it's really that the idea of my relationship with God may not be completely right, or just completely on the condition of that, where it actually can be absolutely and is absolutely connected to our relationship with others.
Yeah.
And it makes a lot of sense because I think again, coming from a very individualized society,
Yeah.
even how we read certain things like the commands of discipleship is never an individual command. It's quite often commanded to really be walked out within
That's right.
a community, a collective, a society, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and I think it's too easy to just write people off or avoid them or put up boundaries. And sometimes that's appropriate. I'm not saying it's never appropriate, but I
Right.
think lots of times, even over the slightest little thing, we carry around these grudges, and we don't think that that really affects our relationship with God. When in actual fact, what is being said here is the exact opposite of that.
That's right.
And I think it even leads to, I mean, Skye mentioned this in the book, um, that it can lead to a very dangerous situation where when our relationship with God and our relationship with others and our own minds are completely separate and severed, it's not uncommon, particularly for religious people, to use God to justify their mistreatment of others. And the example he used
Mm,
in the New Testament was the Pharisees, who were the religious leaders at Jesus' time.
yeah.
They found a way to execute and get rid of Jesus in the name of saving Israel and their way of life, and they used God to justify to themselves.
Sure. And I think if you look out even just throughout history, period, unfortunately, that is not uncommon.
Yep. So I think that's something we have to be aware of, and we should take every possible step we can to avoid putting ourselves in that situation where we can easily just uh, uh, use God to justify our mistreatment of other people. So,
That's right. Yeah, well, so I guess that brings us sort of the end of this discussion. So I
yep.
really hope all of those who are watching or listening hope that something in this discussion, or as you've read chapter 7 in What If Jesus Was Serious, has left you with, some just good thoughts that can hopefully lead into further reflection and hopefully stimulate some great conversations, whether it's, in your missional community or with some friends. We just really hope that go a little on further beyond just this, few minutes we were together here on the YouTube or podcast or however you're viewing this or hearing this. So
Okay.
have a great day.